Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. Well, a second witness has come forward, Norma Jean Jelovec, a seasonal Wyoming resident from Florida. She's actually come forward after seeing Miranda Baker's TikTok video. I think it was posted September 17th. And so she also picked up Brian Laundrie on August 29th, the same day as Miranda Baker, and also very close to the same time. Miranda Baker said that she picked him up at about 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, whereas Norma Jean Jelovec picked him up at about 6:30, about an hour later, also Mountain Standard Time, and then dropped him off at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area. And as we know, Gabby's remains were discovered at that site a couple of weeks later. So from what I understand, I think she drove with him for around about 20 minutes. She said she picked him up around about 6:15 and then dropped him off about 20 minutes later. She said she picked him up past the dam near the Pacific Creek landing, and he was walking backwards and holding out his thumb like so many do in that area of the national park. She said, I picked him up and something just said, hey, ask him where he's going. And interestingly, while they were driving, her Bible slid off the dashboard onto his lap, at which point he picked it up and put it back on the dashboard. Quite an interesting moment, given everything else that was happening. They apparently made small talk. He said that he'd seen elk and moose but no bison. She actually even asked him if he needed gas money, and he said no. The crazy thing is, and the amazing thing is, that he was also weird. Seems like he was weird to everybody he met. Well, the weird thing that he did to 23-year-old Jelovec was that she said that he tried to get out of the car while it was still moving. And this is when she said something about she would drive him inside the camp. And I think he got nervous that she might get too close to the van and she might want to hang around or look inside the van, kind of thing. He actually mentioned to his driver, Jelovec, she joked with him about wanting to impress his fiancée by hiking into the campground rather than hitching a ride. And then his response was just to insist that he be let out of the vehicle. You kind of get the idea that he was sort of panicking. But once again, you kind of get the idea that this is a guy who's very erratic in his thinking, isn't he? So I'll put a link to that article in the description. I'm also going to play for you 14 photos of Gabby Petito that you probably haven't seen before. But before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. So before I show you this sort of slideshow of about 14 photos of Gabby you may not have seen before, let's just review some of what we know, starting with the fact that an arrest warrant has been issued for Brian Laundrie. It is about time. A lot of people have been saying that. But something that has come out from that is the fact that he apparently used Gabby's card on, I think they say it's between August 30th and the 1st of September. And that's more than $1,000 were used, that he used her Capitec account. And so you have this guy raging against commercialism, complaining about capitalism, and then he steals his fiance's bank card and uses her money almost immediately. Doesn't really say much for his so-called morality, does it? The other thing that I think is interesting is I think that what he needed that money for, probably more than anything else, was fuel for this long journey home. You also kind of get the sense that he's quite a crafty fellow, that there's speculation now that he gave the wrong information to his parents, and that is why no one has been able to find him so far. And in other words, that he deliberately put people on the wrong track, because it would be natural to want to look for him in national parks, given that is where he spent all his time. It would also be quite easy for him to hide away, because I'm talking about within the urban fabric, because everyone can wear masks, right? So I'm not sure how difficult it would be to move around without being recognized. Then I also want to respond to two aspects that have been mentioned on another channel. I've been getting a lot of sort of feedback on my own channel about it, so I'm just going to deal with it here and now. And it's this talk about stickers and that these are coded messages and all that kind of thing. And I've got to just be honest and say, on this particular channel, this sort of stuff has gotten the channel, huge amounts of traction, lots and lots of views, right? And it seems like people want to think about weird things, and they don't really want to pay attention to the information. Could it be some kind of hidden secret coded message kind of thing? And I think the reason why those stickers are on there is quite simple. If someone is alerted to the van, what he wants to do by putting the stickers on there is making it appear slightly different to what anyone would see. So in other words, by putting stickers on there could also distract you from looking at the number plate. And so these stickers would kind of give a sense that it's a different vehicle. That's what I think he was doing. He's not trying to give you information. He's trying to confuse what you think. And I think that is totally different. That is also, I think, the reason for these sort of alibis. I think he hitchhiked on purpose in order to make it look like what he's doing is he's separating himself from the van. He's separating himself from Gabby, as if to say, I wasn't there. I was on the road. These people saw me. Something could have happened when I came back, Gabby was gone, kind of thing. Maybe she hitchhiked with somebody else. I mean, who knows what his story is going to be. Then the other thing I want to talk about is this whole thing about Stan. Send the authorities now. You might say that is another coded message. I guess it could be. I've never heard of it. And even when you Google it, it doesn't really come up as a well-known acronym. So I guess it's possible. I must say I'm kind of on the fence with that one. I think that one's a bit more likely, but not sure. I think more than likely that is Brian sending these messages as if to say, don't expect me to be answering my phone over the next few days. He's not trying to send a coded message. He's trying to just, it's not quite as sophisticated or as intriguing as that, although I'm sure a lot of people would like to think so. Then in terms of the door closing on the van, I've just taken some screen grabs from a very clear video. I'll put a link to that video in the description, although I'm sure many of you have seen it. I'm just not someone who's going to jump right immediately and say, I'm seeing something when it's not very clear. So this did come out subsequently. It was a lot clearer. But as I say, I'm not going to be the first one to put up my hand and say, I'm seeing something when it wasn't very clear to me. There was some drops of water or rain or something on the camera that made it fuzzy, but obviously the high resolution thing did clear it up. So I was just a bit cautious in that area. And that is as far as I'm going to take it. I'm not going to take it further than that. I'm going to play out with 14 photos of Gabby Petito that you perhaps have not seen before. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. you.